What's going on, the copywriting culture? Boy Loso 2.0, the copy got himself. And today we're going to talk about CANI. Now, first I want to start off by talking about what CANI is. CANI stands for constant and never-ending improvement. Constantly working. I'm talking about to the point where you're not really worried as much about the result or the reward at the end of the tunnel, where you're really just focused on the progress. Like, just work. That's all it is, just work, not worrying about what you're getting out of it, what's in it for you, just working, constant and never-ending improvement. The thing about CANI is it's like most principles, right? What do I mean by that? Most principles always stay the same no matter what. So back in, and they may twist around a little bit, but nothing really changes too much to the point where you have to go start from square one. Like, for example, with psychology for customers, for buying, right? The same things, maybe a little bit of tweak, but the same principles still stay the same with customers. They buy off of emotions and they back it up with logic. So CANI is one of those principles where it's like, if you're constantly in never-ending improvement, if you're constantly working on yourself, you're going to get better regardless. No, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's impossible. It's literally impossible to keep working on yourself and not improving at all at something. Okay. And it's one of those things that's kind of like history, right? History repeats itself, but this is in a good way, right? Like, when you're constantly and never improving on yourself, good things happen. For example, if I'm going to say the same principles work. So, for example, it was the Great Depression before, right? And during the Great Depression, it was a time when stuff was shutting down, businesses were shutting down and stuff like that. Stock market crashed, housing crashed or whatever. But guess what? Some businesses shot through the roof. Some came out and people became millionaires off of the Great Depression because they were constantly never-ending improvement and they were sticking to the principles that still work. And it's the same thing that happened with the quarantine, right? DoorDash shot up. Phone stores probably shot up a little bit too because people are inside more. You know what I mean? Like, it's different things because the principles stood the same no matter what. And it sets that foundation. When you're doing CANI and you're constantly never-ending improvement, you're going to set a foundation for your life to always be improving. And basically the person you are, especially as men, as kings like we are, right? Around this age, we're around our mid-20s. This is kind of the man we're going to be for the rest of our life. So it's like, if you are constantly never-ending improving, that's how you're going to be with the man from 10 years from now, 20 years, 30, 40, 50, 60 years from now, until the day you die. You're going to constantly and never-ending improvement. You're going to be a CANI person. So now CANI, right, when it comes to this, I do not mean work yourself to the ground to the part, my glass is dirty as a mug. I don't mean work yourself to the ground to the part where you are not even, like, it's just too much. Like, you're not even giving yourself time to rest. You have to give yourself time to rest. It's just part of it, right? Because you always are trying to improve, but you're also trying to rest as well. Like, for example, with Eric Thomas, right? He says he wakes up at 3 a.m. every single morning. Now, he stated this specifically himself. Just because I wake up at 3 a.m. doesn't mean I stay up at 3 a.m. Because what he does is he will work on himself. He will wake up in the morning, get his stuff done, do what he has to do. And then after he gets done doing what he has to do, Eric Thomas would, all right, you know what? Let me go back and get some rest now and get my sleep. And I'm waking up at 8 o'clock now. I'm Eric Thomas right now, but at 8 o'clock, I'll be E.T. the hip hop preacher because he goes and he gets that rest. Rest is very important. I told you guys that about one of my Bible breakdowns. We was talking about the importance of rest. So you have to give yourself time to rest. Now, let me talk about this anime again. And I know you guys are going to call me weird, whatever. I don't really care. But this is why I love Naruto so much as one of the best animes ever. Because of it's about CANI. It's all about constant and never-ending improvement. And I'm going to really break it down to you, right? So you got Naruto here, right? Naruto is a kid that he grew up with, he's a kid that he grew up, everybody basically hated him because he had some demon in him, whatever. But the point of the matter is he wasn't good. He was the worst in his class. But all the time he kept saying, I believe it. Like, I'm going to be the Hokage someday. Now, first, I'm about to talk about from two different lenses. The three different things CANI does, the 3 steps that CANI does for you, self-reflection, and then the 3 steps it does for everybody else looking on the outside in. Okay? So first with Naruto, right? He always kept saying, I believe it. I believe it. That's the first step, belief. You have to really believe. We talked about this before. Like, you almost have to have delusion for other people to see it as delusional to the point where you really believe, like, I'm gonna be Hokage. He kept saying it, I'm gonna believe it, I'm gonna be Hokage, not even knowing how he was gonna become a Hokage, how he was gonna get there, what do you need to do. He just said, I'm gonna keep getting stronger. That's it. He wasn't focused on the goal. He was focused on getting better every single day. He was focused on CANI. And when he focused on CANI, and by the way, CANI is not a CANI, constant and never-ending improvement, is not an original thought. It is something that was thought that Tony Robbins put up on in his book that I'm reading as well, right? So he came up with this idea, but it's been around forever though. Constant, never-ending improvement. He just put an acronym to it. But yeah, Naruto just always kept saying that. So you really have to believe it. That's the first step. You have to truly believe that you're gonna get it. It's belief. And when that happens from the outside in, people are going to ridicule you. That's the first step of them looking outside in. People kept saying, oh, you think you want me to Hokage? No, you're not. Like, it's destiny. People were telling me it's destiny. Oh, no, you're too weak. You can't even master this basic jutsu, this basic move, right? You can't do that. They kept saying that. He was like, yeah, you're not. Like, that's crazy. That's basically what the show was about. The first half of it. Well, there's 3 parts. But the first part is basically just people just straight up telling them, no, you can't do it. No, it's not your destiny. All right. The second step, looking out first in reflection, is getting references. So in the second step from the outside looking in is violently opposing. So people were literally talking about killing him because he kept saying he would be the Hokage. No, you're not going to be Hokage here. Why don't I kill you so that you don't have to worry about, basically disappointing yourself? The other guy, yeah, it's not your destiny. I'm going to show you how weak you are, and try to beat him up. But Naruto, as he kept getting stronger, kept working on his game, he kept getting references to the point where he was beating the S-rank criminals. Now, it was with the help of his team, but he's beating S-rank criminals. Excuse me, I got a cake, free cake. Then it got to the point where he was beating the last year's Rookie of the Year. And they were like, oh, you know what I mean? It's not your destiny. Okay, let me show you. Beats him. And then he just filmed it, so he just squeezing his hand. Yo, I'm getting stronger. He's stopping people from attacking the village when he's younger. Although the other guy was a getting or low-ranked ninja too as well. But like, he's stopping other people from beating the village also. He kept building up references to the part where he's like, yeah, I'm gonna be Hokage. I'm gonna be Hokage. And these things were helping him believe it. Because when you're a CANI, you really believe it. At first, you say you believe. You got to keep speaking to this and you believe it. But then you got to keep doing things that help build up your references so that you could believe. Because that's all life is about. It's about building references to be improving. Okay? And then people kept violently opposing. They kept doing it. As he kept building references, he kept fighting stronger individuals. Then he got to the last part, which is the outside in, they become self-evident. Oh my gosh, like he's it. And then inside looking in reflection is an emotional event that triggers this. So I think the event that really triggered this was in the second part, right? And towards the end, about 3-4 years later, Naruto saves the village from the leader of the Akatsuki, which is a group that basically is trying to end the world. The leader basically attacks the Leaf Village, and Naruto does his training. He comes back and actually defeats this guy. And I think at that moment, that's when people kept calling him the hero of the Leaf Village. And at that moment is when a triggering event happened, so triggering him that he was just like, you know what? I'm going to be the Hokage. And other people were like, hero of the village, he's the hero of the village. Oh my gosh, Naruto, he's really going to be some Hokage someday. I know everybody started to really believe, and everybody really started to look at him as like, yo, this is the hero of the Leaf Village. Even different Kages and different, Shadow, the different leaders for the different villages were even believing it too. Like, this guy's special. He is special. He really had the ability to make people believe because he first believed in himself. Secondly, he kept building references by constantly and never ending improving on himself. He kept getting references to why he should believe himself that he could make it. And in that triggering event, once that big event came, when preparation and opportunity meet, boom. Now we got Naruto, who eventually becomes the Hokage, not to ruin it, but he does become the Hokage of the village. Constant and never-ending improvement, right? Because and it reminds me of when he was training for his Sage move, which was a move to defeat the guy, right? They had to make him sit still. And I talk about this all the time. They had to make him sit completely still because living creatures, we cannot sit still, right? But then he constantly had to sit still. But then what happened with Naruto is he stood still. Well, he couldn't stay still eventually. He couldn't stay still, but it's the same thing with like, not just physically, but emotionally, financially, spiritually, relationship-wise, whatever you want to think of, mindset-wise, intellectually. Physical beings, we cannot sit still. So if you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards. There's the only two ways. All right. So constant and never ending improvement. Remember, people are going to ridicule you. People are going to violently oppose you. but then eventually they're going to become evident of it because you believed in yourself. You constantly improved yourself so you could build references. And then that when preparation opportunity meet, now you're that guy. So that's just something I wanted to add today, man. I want you guys to keep killing the day. Comment below what you think. Subscribe to this channel, like it, and you pray for marketing like this. Copy God out.